Barack Obama, go sit your privileged ass down somewhere. Go sit your privileged bullshit somewhere. You had an opportunity to unify the United States, and that day you were not our president. And I don't think you've been our president the entire time, because you have did more for LGBT than anything, and you lump us all together like it's the same thing. In reality, Barack Obama separated us way more than what we were prior to Obama. As a matter of fact, a lot of the things that we have worked for, our ancestors have worked for, are being kicked out the door because it's easier to control us when we're not empowered and when we're emotional.
Democracy is not self-executing. It requires people, judges, and...
Yes, Obama claims America is becoming like an autocracy under Trump. And when that isn't happening, we start drifting into something that is not consistent with American democracy. It is consistent with autocracies. Obama actually sat down. I don't know if this was a forum or what exactly. He talked about some certain issues, struggling to call out Trump and what he's doing without mentioning his name. When I look at the whole video, and
democracy is not self-executing. It requires people, judges, and people in the Justice Department, and people throughout the government who take an oath to uphold the Constitution. It requires them to take that oath seriously. And when that isn't happening, we start drifting into something that is not consistent with American democracy. It is consistent with autocracies. It's consistent with Hungary under Orban. It's consistent with places that hold elections but do not otherwise observe what we think of as a fair system in which everybody's voice matters and people have a seat at the table and there are checks and balances and nobody's above the law. But facts are important, because if you can't, and I think one of the most pernicious things.
Yes, in situations like this, I don't always like to talk much. Someone wrote, no one cares about these terms. They care about affordability of living and safety. Those are what President Trump is providing and why he's popular. Obama's claim of autocracy under Trump is a stretch. Under Trump, the US saw a 3% GDP growth in 2018, reflecting robust economic freedom, not autocratic control. Real autocracy don't boast such economic dynamism or allowed for the level of political discourse we see. That is a yes. In another video, this is what Obama said.
But facts are important, because if you can't, and I think one of the most pernicious things that has happened is we have a situation now where we're not just arguing policy or values or opinions, but basic facts are being contested. And that is a problem, because then the marketplace of ideas of the democracy don't work. And we're now in a situation in which we are having these just basic factual arguments. And that further undermines trust. And those in power, those with money, exploit that space in which nobody knows what's true. Vladimir Putin and the KGB had a saying that was then adopted proudly by Steve Bannon, which was, if you want propaganda to be effective, you don't have to convince people that what you are saying is true. You just have to flood the zone with so much poop. They use a different word, but you have to flood the zone with so much untruth constantly that at some point people don't believe anything.
Yes, this is Obama. We saw what they did during the Biden administration period. They came in with Minister of Truth. It didn't work out. This is him repeating the same thing. I understand they advocate for more of this on social media. Now going into cackling the view, they reacted to this video in a way that draw my attention. I want you to see that when you take a look at this video, our former president obligated to speak out, the View co-host wherein as some are criticizing former President Barack Obama for not being more outspoken about the current administrations. They are not happy that Obama is not talking about Trump the way they expected. Looking at this forum, Obama talked about the Trump administration without calling his name. The View seem not to be happy about that.
Democrats are still looking for someone to lead them out of the hole the party is in, and some people are criticizing former President Obama, really, for not speaking out more. He did the job already. I mean, the New York Times just wrote about a recent speech where he made veiled warnings about the direction the country is heading in, but he didn't mention Trump by name. Because he's a gentleman, that's why. Does he have an obligation to get out in the public and talk more? Because he was the president, one of the great presidents, I think, 2 terms.
Yeah.
And a totally great guy.
Yeah. I mean, the country was... I think he was just such an important figure in American history as the first Black president. And certainly he was measured, brilliant, a real statesman. But I don't think he owes us anything at this point. What I think is the people that are sort of complicit in what is happening, people that are in the Senate, people that are in Congress, people that are in the administration, those are the people that need to speak up. Those are the people that need to hem their party members in. And I've been hearing all this, Obama needs to do something, Michelle needs to do something. They don't need to do anything. And Charles Blow, I think, said it beautifully. He said, it's Black, in terms of the Black delegation, he writes, it's our turn to be allies. We will pray for your safety and cheer for your success as you put your bodies on the front lines. We want the resistance to win, but we want the groups responsible for most of the damage to bear most of the risk. And I think that's what people are thinking.
Well, it says that President Obama is taking phone calls from current state leaders, Democratic candidates, up-and-comers, and he says, I advise them privately, which I think is awesome. That's the most important.
According to some, Obama should be more vocal about Trump. Obama did during the campaign period, said all types of things about Trump, call him names. At the end of the day, we saw the end result, and I concluded this Obama guy is irrelevant. Yeah, people don't care about him, what he says. That's the truth. So, whatever thing he says about Trump, it means nothing to a lot of people. Look at Trump approval ratings right now. You can see it for yourself. Today, I watched Michelle Obama. I think I reacted to that video, making it clear, like, she's extremely happy not having a boy child with Obama because the child will be like Obama. I was shocked.
It's about what he needs as a grown man in the world. That would be...
You should have threw a boy in the mix.
I would. I'm so glad I didn't have a boy.
Yeah.
Because he would have been a Barack Obama.
It was like baby Barack. It would have been amazing.
No, I would have felt for him. One thing, I do want to go back to the work that you've done, the therapy that you did, and you're very clear-headed about it. You give permission to a lot of men out there who need to do.
I was embarrassed. You know, I mean,
Thank you guys who always be there sharing out my videos. God bless you abundantly. If you see any clip after this, that is for the YouTube algorithm. I always put short videos. They don't pick up videos on this channel to recommend. That is just the secret what we struggle here every day.
And, you know, got to be in the White House for all those years, but she's angry about it and thinks that it's worthy of all of our attention.
People line up for my advice, and you're walking away like I'm stupid. It's like,
why don't we choose more carefully who we're going to lionize?
Why marriage, infertility, trying to have kids makes things difficult. It's like
she's seriously depressed about how hard it is to live in the White House.
Post this morning alleging that since I said I will prevail.
It also shouldn't be racial.
Require Carmelo to run. He had
100.
Has been overwhelming. The lies in their amplification.
This is not going to end. Right is right and wrong is wrong. All good.
If you see any clips after this, that is just for the YouTube algorithm.
What if he says self-defense?
There's no self-defense. The kids in here and resolve this issue is called conflict resolution.
Again, the evidence is still coming in.
This is definitely a self-defense case because it always is one until you...
Because she's fearful of what might happen to her.
Followers for anything. And then the
Registration Act is
talking about term. And you will be very...
Once again, the field was littered with Wintour does.
And black people don't want to live around ratchet black.
How bad is his reputation going to be?
Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass have already proven their incompetence.